Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Mindset Matters, the podcast where we choose to live with purpose and grow with intention. My name is Vic. I am a mindset and personal growth coach who helps young adults discover their passions and prioritize mindful routines. So if you are ready to live a balanced, purpose-driven life, you can check out my work at mindsetmatterswithvic.com. So today, I'm very excited for today's episode, actually. We're going to talk about progress over perfection. And this is something I see so often. People getting caught up in wanting to be perfect, people getting caught up in feeling like things need to be perfect before they actually take action towards something. So what I want to share with you today is that all progress is progress if you choose to look at it that way. Second thing is that this desire to be perfect and do things perfectly ultimately end up like holding you back. And thirdly, I'm going to share some mindset shifts that I believe will help you to start to enjoy the imperfect journey of life for what it is. And I'm also going to help you with what your next step could be if you're either feeling stuck or you feel like you're taking a lot of action but nothing is happening and you're feeling lost in that too. So that's the plan for today. Before we get into it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so we can hang out every week. Okay, so let's talk about progress. All progress is progress. What do I mean by this? First of all, like who said that in order for you to do something or to start something or to go for something, it had to be perfect? Like who actually made this rule? Because I think a lot of it is all in our heads. So often when we see successful people, whoever you think is successful, they're successful because they didn't wait for things to be perfect, because they took action, because they went for something, because they felt the fear and did it anyways. So give yourself permission to kind of let go of this idea that in order to do something, it has to be perfect. A good example is even with this podcast. This was something that I started not on a whim, but it was very quick between the time I took to like think about doing it and then actually doing it. It wasn't very long. And I have a friend who was wanting to start a podcast for like 3 years, and she was just like holding herself back. Oh, I don't have the right equipment, or, not necessarily making excuses, but, she kind of put it off for a long time. And when she started, she realized like, oh, wait, this is okay. That's not perfect. And I'm learning as I go. And I just think that's such a good lesson. Another thing is when you start to take action, action becomes your new normal. If you are used to being stuck where you are and not taking action, then you're in the habit of just like being passive or waiting to do things. However, as soon as you start to take some action, you'll actually build the habit of taking action, and that becomes your new normal. So for me, I am someone who is very action oriented. I think that any sort of action can help get you unstuck. Intentional action that centers around your goals, even better. But if you don't even know what your goals are right now, we're going to get into that a little bit later, but taking any sort of action just to get movement, even if it's like cleaning your room or doing one little thing to help you progress towards that ultimate goal, if you know what that is, progress is progress, and you should celebrate that. So celebrating the small wins, if your goal is moving abroad and today, maybe it's something you've been putting off, but you decide, okay, I'm going to look up the visa requirements and I'm going to get my documents in order. That first step is a big step, and it's something that's progressing you toward that goal. So it should be celebrated. Okay. If you want to get a new job, maybe today you tweak your resume a little bit and you go over it, or you ask a friend to look it over, or someone that you trust to look it over. That is progress. And so celebrating these small moments of progressing towards your goals kind of helps you let go of feeling like it needs to be perfect. So for me, starting the podcast, a big step forward for me was when I got it on video to put on YouTube, and that was something that I wanted to do. And that didn't happen until several months into me starting the podcast, because I didn't have the right tech, or I didn't know how to do it, or I didn't know how to edit it properly, whatever. But I still started. I knew that I wanted to get it on YouTube, but at first it was just, well, let's just start recording and let's get better as we go, right? As you practice, you do, say practice makes perfection. I think like practice makes progress. All progress is progress. Progress should be celebrated. Something I think about the desire to be perfect is that it actually ends up holding you back. So while I just talked about, and I do believe that you should celebrate small wins, I think something that's important to consider is to not let those little wins become a crutch. Like sometimes we'll just take little baby steps and we're almost telling ourselves that that is progress and that that's good enough and that that's going to get us to our ultimate goal. But I do think that sometimes you need to take a bigger step. Sometimes you need to kind of leap into it. So if you feel like you are taking steps but still not getting anywhere, then maybe this is your sign that, ooh, maybe I'm just kind of holding myself back because I'm not allowing myself to get out of my comfort zone, and I'm only taking baby steps that aren't really getting me anywhere. So maybe that contradicts what I just said about celebrating small wins, but I think there does come a point where you kind of have to go for it and you kind of have to dive in to whatever that thing is. And I think sometimes it becomes, wanting for the time to be just right to quit my job and move abroad, or wanting my resume to be perfect before I apply to jobs, right? So yes, you looked at the visa papers and you got your documents in order, that's great, but then you didn't actually apply for the visa. Or, okay, you're tweaking your resume, but it's not perfect, so I can't apply to jobs yet. So that is an example of using those little wins as kind of a crutch for not actually taking action that will ultimately get you to go abroad or get you that new job that you've been wanting. Now, I'd like to take a little minute to talk about fear. Fear, of course, hinders us. We hold ourselves back so much because we're afraid to do things, whether it's we feel worry, we feel anxious, we feel unsure about something, all of those emotions kind of fall under the category of fear. And it's often our ego, which is that voice inside your head that kind of holds you back and often is a negative voice of reason. So your ego really wants to protect you, but it often will say things like, oh, you're not ready, or you're not good enough right now, or what if you fail? It's kind of feeding you these things out of wanting to protect you, wanting you to stay in your comfort zone where it's safe, where it knows what's predictable. And ultimately, if you listen to that little voice inside your head and you don't even realize that those are the thoughts swimming around, sometimes we don't even realize it. So building self-awareness on what thoughts you're habitually thinking is really important. If those are the thoughts that are always kind of swimming in your mind, you're holding yourself back because, again, you're afraid. And I just want to say that fear is normal. First of all, every single one of us feels fear. It's a human emotion to feel fear. And it's normal that the exciting things you want to do are also scary, right? I think it kind of just goes hand in hand. If something excites you and something makes you feel like it's worth pursuing, there's always going to be a little bit of fear of like, wait, but like, should I actually do this? Or is this right for me? Or, what if I'm not ready? And in response to those thoughts, it's like, well, who says I'm not ready? Or how will I know I'm not ready if I don't actually try? And we're going to talk about some mindset shifts, but I think ultimately you'll never be 100% ready, which is why I say all progress is progress. Things won't be perfect. Things won't turn out the way you want anyways, because life happens. And so you might as well go for things and focus on progressing towards that goal rather than making it perfect. Now, before we get into some mindset shifts that I think will help you to focus on progress versus perfection, I just want to chat for the people who are feeling stuck. So if you are feeling stuck in your current situation, maybe you're struggling to identify, what your passions are, what brings you joy, You don't even know what type of progress you want to be making. You know, maybe you're just not feeling excited about life, or you can't shake the feeling that like there's something better out there for you. So if this resonates, I invite you to book a passion assessment with me. This is a one-to-one coaching call where we will dive into what really lights you up, why you've been feeling stuck, and how to actually take your next intentional step forward. And this is all in under an hour. You can check out more details at mindsetmatterswithvic.com. But if you are ready to feel like you've got more purpose, more direction, and feel excited about life again, then I think this call could really be beneficial to you. So check out the link below, and I would love to help you kickstart your balanced, purpose-driven future. So a few mindset shifts that I want you to try to adopt in order to help you focus on progress versus perfection is firstly to see life as an imperfect journey. Life is not perfect. We all know this by now. So to get caught up in needing things to be perfect before taking action is so silly, because life is not perfect. And the journey of life is imperfect, and it will be for everyone. For every single person, life is imperfect. It's perfectly imperfect. Like, what does imperfect mean? Because when you start to shift your mindset to look at life as a journey that you get to experience, life is happening for you, not to you. You will start to see things just as they are. And that almost eliminates the need for perfection, because when you can be in acceptance of what is and truly be in the present moment and say, okay, I can accept the things that come my way. My favorite quote on this is, I don't mind what happens. I think if you can adopt I don't mind what happens into your life and really understand it and feel it, I feel like it just eliminates all need to be perfect, because it's different than saying, I don't care what happens. Of course you care. Of course you have feelings. Of course you have goals you're working towards. But when you say that you don't mind what happens, you're allowing life to flow. You're allowing this sense of unpredictability. You're allowing the journey of life to happen for you, and you become adaptable. Okay, so if you are running late and you're stressed and you're feeling so anxious about getting somewhere on time, and now there's traffic, and now there's an accident, now there's this and that. If you focus on all these things that are going wrong, then of course life is going to be very imperfect in that moment. But if you can shift your mindset to say, I don't mind what happens, I'll get there when I get there, it will be okay, then you're allowing life to flow. Because often the situation you're in is the same. You're stuck in traffic. You're stuck in traffic whether you're upset about it or whether you're in acceptance of the situation. And the difference is, the situation's the same, but the difference is the way you look at it could ruin your whole day or allow you to just kind of keep on going, keep on living. I also want to say that if everything in life was predictable, it would be boring. It would be mundane. Life would just be the same every single day. And I don't think that that's the best way to live our lives. Like, life should be exciting. When you think about the journey of life, like, there should be ebbs and flows. There should be things that challenge us. There should be things that are unpredictable, because that's just how it goes. And I think that that's actually beautiful and amazing and can take you so far. Like, some of the best experiences of my life have been things that are unplanned, things that I didn't expect. And when you're in a mindset of anything that's unpredictable or anything that's imperfect is bad, then you're not going to be able to fully experience and embrace these kind of spontaneous or random or imperfect situations. A good example of this I can think of is when traveling. You know, when you have your rigid schedule, you want to do this, you know, you got everything scheduled from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed. You know, yes, it's great to have a plan and ideas what you want, but what often happens is, oh, there's traffic getting there, or oh, maybe you meet someone and they actually suggest you do something else, but then you can't because your schedule is so dense, right? It's almost like you have to kind of schedule in this level of unpredictability. And I think that that's such a great way to live, is like allowing yourself some time to just ebb and flow and know that good things can come from things that are disguised as bad, which is another point I want to make, is a mindset shift that once I started making made my life a million times better. Is when things don't work out, it just means it wasn't meant for you. I have a really good example of this. I was applying to a new school a couple years back, and there was a job posting I thought I really, really wanted, and I applied for it. And essentially how it works is the school board will call you, the principals will call you in a certain time frame on a certain day, and you have to be ready to pick up the phone and accept the job. And if you miss the call, they don't wait. They go to the next person. So it's kind of a strange system. And what can happen is they can actually give you a little pre-warning call earlier in the day if you're their first choice, to say, hey, we're going to call you later with official offer. So that day, I didn't end up getting a warning call. And so I thought that I didn't get the job. So I kind of was already in the head that they're not going to call me. I accidentally kept my phone on Do Not Disturb, and they called. And I missed it, and I tried to call back maybe 30 minutes later, and he had already given the job to somebody else. I remember being so mad at myself, so frustrated, and I was like, this was supposed to be my job. I really wanted to work at this school, whatever. And fast forward to the school I actually got placed at. I loved it. I had a great experience. I really met some amazing teachers, and it put in perspective of like, oh, I messed up for a reason. I really dropped the ball by not accepting this job, or how stupid could I have been for leaving my phone on Do Not Disturb? Like, looking back, yeah, that was still a really big mistake, but I made the mistake for a reason, and I ended up at a school that I was supposed to experience. So I think whenever something doesn't work out, or you feel like you're not progressing towards your goals, or you're feeling like things aren't perfect, know that if something doesn't work out, it wasn't meant for you. I believe this to my core. Everything that is meant for you, you will experience. And everything that comes your way, the good, the bad, the ugly, is meant to be experienced. You can learn, you can grow from all of these things. Again, the good, the bad, the ugly. Everything is meant to be a learning experience. So see it that way. Shift your mindset to start, again, viewing life as something that's happening for you, not to you. I think that there can be kind of two sides to this progress versus perfection. I think there's people who get really stuck in wanting to be perfect, that they don't take any action. And a lot of the tips that I mentioned are for you. Try to take little steps, celebrate your small wins, start to shift your mindset. Know that it won't be perfect anyways, so you might as well start. But then I also feel like there's the people who are like, go, go, go all the time. And maybe they do know what they want, or they don't really know what they want, but they're very good at taking action. But it's not intentional action, or they feel like, hey, I've been doing all these things, but I'm still stuck, or I'm still not going where I want to be going. And they don't give themselves time to rest, to reflect, to figure out what intentional action actually looks like. So I just want to remind those people that life is not a sprint. Okay, it's a marathon, baby. We are here for the ebbs, the flows. Not everything is going to feel like you're always progressing, but sometimes you need to prioritize rest and being present and mindfulness. So again, I just want to let you know that if you are feeling stuck in your current situation and you're like, oh my goodness, what do I even want? Or why am I stuck? Why are the things I'm trying to do not working? Then I really invite you to book a passion assessment with me. Again, it's a one-to-one call. It takes under an hour. You are going to figure out, okay, why am I stuck? What's not working in my life? And what is my intentional step forward? We're going to talk about mindset and how you can start making little changes that will help you reach where you want to go. So again, check that out at mindsetmatterswithvic.com. I will chat with you very soon. All progress is progress. You got this. And I can't wait to see you next week.